Club. We're your hosts. I'm Akila Friends.
And I'm Ebony Chapman.
And today, as you can see, we are joined by Anjolee Williams, a singer, songwriter with a smooth and edgy vocal style. So her accolades include being a member of the wildly successful Sunday Service Choir and sharing the stage with her, Donnie McClurkin, Kanye West. The list truly goes on, but this is just we're just tipping the iceberg here, right? So we're looking forward to having a conversation with you on finding your voice, on singing and songwriting, and just so much more. Let's welcome Anjolee Williams. We're so happy to have you.
Ooh, thank you so much. I love that intro. The energy is just, I felt it.
There we go. We love that. Love that. Had to give you your flowers. If you're seeing us visually, we know we all have flowers now.
All the flowers.
Yes. So we are all about it. But you know what? Like I said, you're a talented singer, a songwriter. You have writing credits as well that include Chaka Khan and Scarface. Like, just tell us, how did some of these opportunities come about?
Being in the room. So Scarface came about. Yeah, it's so crazy and very random. So Scarface came about. I was in New York. I was singing at the time. I was singing background for Nicole Ray. We were in New York. She had some dates on the East Coast, and she was doing some recording. And so my producer that I was working with at the time had also been working with Scarface. So he was like, "Hey, Scarface is in New York. Can you meet him at the studio?" And I'm like, "Hell yeah." Hell yeah. So I went to the studio and, praise God. I mean, it happened to be one of that producer. It was one of his tracks, and interesting, you go into a major studio like that and they put the track on and it's like, okay, what you got? 15 minutes later, you got to go in the booth. But yeah, we put it down. And what the song actually didn't end up being released on his original, he did a project called I forgot, but Deeply Rooted. It was called Deeply Rooted, but he didn't release it on that project. So I was like, okay, well, that's okay, But then he went back and released something called Deeply Rooted, The Lost Files. So it was released on The Consequence. I was like, because we can record if a song isn't released.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, let's talk about that, because first off, you've said a lot, and it was one, being in the room at the right place in the right time. And I think that I think success is very objective, subjective, all of the things, because it's kind of one of those things where it's yes, you have talent. Yes, you are, in the space, and you might know a few people here and there, but if that person isn't connecting to someone who's working on a project, or isn't connecting you to someone doing this, sometimes the talent does fall on deaf ears. And so sometimes, and majority of the time, it's literally about being in the room at the right time and having that person being like, "Oh, actually, we have some for you. What you got?" And I kind of want to talk about that a little bit, the pressure of being put on the spot. I feel when I'm looking at documentaries and music stuff, they're kind of yeah, this person went in and laid the track, or they sent it back to me in an hour, and and it feels like there's a relationship, or the person was just on it, where they were yeah, we had that sent over in an hour. But it sounds to me now that it's no, maybe there's more pressure on the label side to be no, we trying to get this project out, and and you need to have this done by this time, tell us about that pressure factor.
So it's definitely all of that, you know what I'm saying? So it's a lot of the times it is a label time situation. A lot of the times, I think that's what was happening in that moment. I just remember being in the studio and sitting there, and I wrote, and I had ideas, but when you're working with the artist and they look at you and they're like, "What you got?" Well,
I can't imagine.
I got to give what I got. And so sometimes you just have to, but that doesn't mean you definitely still have times where, honestly, you still have times where you don't necessarily have something in that time frame. You feel me? That I'm just grateful. That was one of the times where what I had was good enough. You know what I mean? It was qualified, because yeah, it's times where you go in and you don't. And then for my project, because it was mine, none of my songs were written like that. All of my songs were like works in progress that I had to, for the most part, refine. And you know what I mean? It worked on over time. So, but I do think when it comes to labels and once you have a record deal, you have a record company investment, and it's a more business driven thing. Yeah, you have time, you're under a time constraint. And yeah, it's not coming, like you don't have time for that. You can't take your time. You have to get music out as quickly as possible. So
and that makes sense, especially like, I mean, it makes sense to say why you can differentiate from, let's say, a listener's perspective, or even folks in the industry, folks who are truly about it and folks who are not, right? Because then that shows when the time is of the essence, when they're like, hey, we have 15 minutes, we have an hour. Yeah, it may not be your best, but you're able to deliver clearly in that time frame when needed. And so that's also a testament to say, like, that's a room that you belong in, right? And so I think that's great. Like, how did you then decide, because they called you in to write. So how did you decide to, you wanted to become a singer or songwriter, and how do you choose between which one you feel like is like, the first part of your identity, the first part of your multi-hyphenate, music journey? How did you decide whether singer or songwriter or both is something that you want to do?
I don't know. I think they kind of choose you. I know that sounds, I think it's what you end up finding. You're going to put time into what you probably enjoy most. And even though the thing with, as a songwriter, you become an artist because you're learning to interpret the own songs that you write. And so I have to be able to, even at the very least, I have to be able to tell you how to sing this, how it should sound. So in that, I'm going to become an artist, but you don't necessarily take the time into honing your singing skills. I could name a whole list of, they might be more of the Caucasian persuasion, but it's a lot of writers on that end, like Bob Dylan, who they're not singers by the least, but they could give or even Carole King. It's a lot of people, or Diane Warren, is like, they're not singers. They didn't put that time in, but they're famous and they have huge artist careers. So but yeah, I think it kind of chooses you. It kind of ends up being whatever you you love. Like, I don't know. And I think of even people like Thundercat, who's a bass player, but sings because it became part of his expression. So I'm gonna go off on 1,000 tangents, so you can hone me.
No.
Hone me back in. Oh, but you know what I wanted to say, and I wanted to touch on this because you mentioned, like, in the moment, being able to deliver that. And I'm like, that's because there's a difference between like talent and skill. And, you have to work on both, so that, like, no matter what, you might be talented, but I know that I have enough skill to, like you said, like, I can give you something. No matter what, my skill level is to a point that you're going to like what I give. And yeah, so that's kind of like I think that's what happens. That's what takes people to a professional level is, you have the cute, creative, sweet, the lovely part of that, but then the skill. Have you worked, are you skilled at what you do? So.
Yeah, I think that's so true. Like, being skilled, being ready. They say stay ready, so you got to get ready. Like, making sure that you do have some piece, because I feel like as a songwriter or an artist, a rapper, whatever, that I feel like a lot of people, I know for me, I do this too all the time. I'm like, oh, you're okay, spit some, let me hear some. You know what I'm saying? I feel like people do that all the time. And then you're like, all right, you want to freestyle? Like, and I'm getting to learn that, like, freestyles aren't always truly like free. Like, they don't always come from like, right now, I just thought of this. It was like, actually, I had this in the bag. Like, I just, but I'm gonna spit it for you. Like, I just wrote it right now. You know what I'm saying? And it's like knowing that you just have those extra things in the back. So that align and make it work. So congrats.
And that's another trick too, though. Like, okay, I know, I'm sorry, but even like if I was going into a songwriting session, I'm not just gonna go into a session blind. I'm gonna have some ideas already loaded that I think are dope.
You got to be prepared. I think that applies to any aspect of life. Like, you're not going to go into something that is a life-changing opportunity or something that can propel you and say, okay, I'm ready for whatever
I'm
you
winging
got.
it. Nah.
Right, I'm gonna just wing it. But you know, you brought up hip hop, Ebony, and I just kind of want to touch on that too when it comes to songwriting. Obviously, when it comes to some of the credits that you have and the skill set that you possess, it seems to be, and you correct me if I'm wrong, more on the R&B, like funk, like soul type of vibe. But when we talk about songwriting in some of these genres, at least hip hop, there seems to be like a general hate, right, for artists to be public about having songwriters, about having, you know, ghostwriters or whatever, right? Do you feel like there's that same feeling of shame or secrecy around songwriters in the R&B space, in some of the genres that you play in? And if yes, why do you think that is?
Very much less, because I feel like it's just more common for like singers and good singers. Actually, like most of the best singers tend to not even write all of their own stuff. You know, like Whitney Houston did not write. You know what I mean? Now, Aretha Franklin, now she wrote. Okay, she was special. Whitney's special too. Right. Don't get it twisted. Whitney sang good enough. She was like, I don't have to write, because do you hear what's coming out of me? So yeah, like, yeah, the best singers tend to not write. So it's not that much of a thing really in R&B. It's definitely a thing in hip hop, even though there's so much ghostwriting going on. Like, you, girl, you know, because the way you shaking your head, you know. So yeah, it's not.
Why is that? Like, I think that it's interesting. I think the idea of R&B artists having help to write a song, or being maybe more known or exposed that there is a group of people that come together to collab on a song, makes sense. But like for rap, it's like the idea that it has to be so hard, and like you come in and you rapping your shit and like nobody's helping you and you did this on your own. And I'm like baffled, and like, why are we so holding these rappers up to like this crazy standard that like they can't have a team of people that are going to help them put their project together? Like, what are we?
But I think it's them holding. It's the culture of the musicians. You know what I mean? It's not necessarily even the people. You know, I think it's because the rappers, you know, it's all about like ego, or you feel me? In that arena. So in that arena, that's what you have. So
yeah. I think it needs to be. I think it needs to be a situation where, I mean, we know for the most part, there's a lot of rappers who don't, or have collaboration,
or they collab. It's like it's a room full of people.
A collab, right? I would call you an entertainer then before I say you're a rapper, because there's something about rap that's like spoken word. It's poetry. It's you're talking about grit, and like you said, the ego
that's
of
interesting.
it all.
So maybe that's why. Yeah.
Yeah. If somebody else is rapping about your 50 chains on your neck, I'll be looking at you a little bit like, okay, why? This is not your life. Right?
You're not telling your own story.
You're not telling your own story.
Are you telling? Yeah.
Right.
Okay, I could vibe with that. I vibe with that then. I definitely hear that. I think there's definitely that like a stark difference, but in a way, I guess it does create the culture. So it makes sense.
Yeah.
But I guess we will continue to talk about music, good music and R&B music, and talk about your debut album, Bloom. Okay. Let's see. You described this as alternative R&B for a Sunday afternoon. Okay. So what made you feel like now is the time to release the album, and what exactly is alternative R&B?
I said alternative R&B because I know that I definitely have some things that kind of squarely fit, but I just feel like I don't know, maybe I just feel like I'm a weirdo. And so maybe I just didn't feel like it could be my own perception. That's so crazy. Projection, you know, of how I think, but I just feel like it wasn't quite regular old traditional R&B because of the, you know, the different elements, even though I know that I have songs that would fit in there, you know what I'm saying? But I feel like as a whole, my sound is a little alternative to R&B, but definitely R&B and definitely soul.
So just to jump in there real quick, just to like help define even like elements of R&B, like if someone was like, okay, what exactly are elements of R&B? Is it like the rhythm? Is it the tempo? Is it like what makes something a little bit more typical R&B versus a different genre?
Yes, it would be the rhythm, probably like even things as instrumentation, low key, you know, like, you know, to put a contrast in there, rock music is more guitar or certain type of guitar driven versus keys driven. You know, the drums tend to be, you know, a certain way in R&B. It could be more it's laid back, you know, it's not all, you definitely have up tempo songs, but you know, it's more of the vibe is probably slightly automatically a little more laid back. The way that the songs are sung, you know what I mean? Just with putting more of the little flavor and love on there. Like you can listen to a pop song and the hook's gonna be straight, you know, but it's an R&B song, it's like a flow, it's gonna flow a little more. So
ride the beat a little bit and
you know what I mean? Stuff like that.
Right.
And lyrically too, possibly, you know, lyrically too, the way I, but I don't know how we could say that because that's more cultural. So I don't know.
It works. There's one thing too that I remember when we were chatting when you were talking about Bloom and the reason for that album title that I thought was just it was powerful because you talked about, you know, it's about comparison being that thief of joy ultimately, right? So you mentioned that flowers, don't worry about what other flowers do, they just bloom. So just talk about that more and what did you mean by this? Why did you think for your debut album, this is the title that just made the best sense for where you are, for the collection of the songs that you put out, just everything related to what I just said?
Yeah, it was probably like a, you know, crazy, I'll say convergence, but you know, at the time that I saw the quote and where I was in my life in transition, I had broke up with my boyfriend, we got back together, but you know, just like a transitional time, and really growing a lot. But yeah, in that space of looking around, coming into, I think it was actually, I hadn't ever had like as big of a musical tribe or circle of friends. And so as my tribe was growing, it's great. And I'm adding new friends and I'm in this beautiful circle. And then I'm also looking around, you know, and then social media helps or hurts or helps, however you want to see it. But, you know, you look at, because people always also paint the picture they want to paint. Now you have to keep that honest too. They're not necessarily showing you everything. But yeah, comparing myself. So those things happen at the same time. And it became like a mantra that allowed me to finish the project. And so I just use it, and I use it as I'm trying to learn to live this way. I'm continuing to try. It is difficult to not compare yourself to people that you're around that are dope, but you're dope too. And so you're dope too. So you're like, well, how come that's happening for them and not for me? But you're not. Just bloom, baby, just bloom. Don't even worry about that. Bloom. And so it became something that I felt like everybody needs this message. Every single body. And it is, you know, more for the ladies, but it's a message for everyone. We can just bloom and we can always just bloom. And I just want to continue, but it never gets old. So it's like, I have to continue to promote this album because I believe in this message. But also each time as I promote it, I remind myself, because I forget all the time, every day. So, and it just kind of came together as I got that message of bloom, you know, other pieces started to fall into place, but focusing on that allowed me to finish. And I was like, bloom, I have to. And then like the song that was called Bloom was a poem. And I just, you know, just wrote a poem. I just, you know, when you write songs, things come to you in different ways. Ideas, it's an idea. So things come to me. So I just was like flowers in a field of dreams. It's like when you think of everyone and we're all beautiful, we're all different, we're all colorful, and we're all here together. And we can just bloom.
What a message. I mean, I think I'll speak for the both of us. You can say it too, but I think I personally relate a lot to what you're saying. And I think it's especially interesting when you're in a space or when you're in a field or doing something that you truly care about and that you're really like invested in, you almost can't take yourself out of it. And so you
more
can't
difficult.
Right. You can't help but compare because like, this is me, like, this is the essence of who I am and how I want to be seen and, you know, perceived by the world. So it's hard to then say, okay, well, no,
I
just
don't care.
do your own thing. I don't care. Like, no, you care. And that's why, it's hard to care and also be observant of the fact that you're not the only person on this earth. So you can't help but look around to your left and your right every now and then. So it's really powerful.
And then I'm gonna go, it extends, like, for example, I'm a live performer. So imagine you're so self-conscious that you don't allow yourself to do your best. Bloom. Girl, if you don't just bloom.
Listen, I am really taking this message all the way to the bank, home, to the moon, to the stars.
I'm serious. Like, every middle school, like, girl, bloom.
No, it is.
We can all bloom. And that's to say, and I'm really, why am I getting emotional? That's to say, even if you don't think you're as good as you think that you should be, be as good as you are that day.
Yeah.
Yes. I mean, honestly, that is so true, because it is so, like, we all know, we've been saying it, the comparison of it all is so hard. Like, just one little anecdote of, like, my day-to-day, right? I'm that person, this is me, right? They're like, plan out your social media. I'm like, ugh, okay. Social media for me is fun when I feel called for it to be fun, right? Like, the other day I was watching a show on Netflix called The Ultimatum, and I was so irritated, annoyed, and I felt called to talk to my friends on Instagram to let them know that experimental dating is ridiculous. And it was fun at that point, because now it was like an expression of something that I felt strongly about. But when I feel like I have to do it because you got to gain the followers and you got to do this and that, like, that's when it becomes a business, it becomes less fun. So I have drafts and drafts and drafts of photos, reels, and everything on my phone that I just haven't posted, that I've done like weeks and weeks ago, because I just have this like anxiety of like having to write a full caption, make it make sense. Like, if I was like, oh, a voiceover would be cute on this, I got to think about what I'm gonna say. And then all of that falls, I'm like, fuck it. Nope, I'm not posting it. Nope. And this don't happen. And it's, and it's just like, so I feel the message, because it is like, so I posted a video today. I was like, you know what? This has been in my drafts for 2 months, 3 months. I'm posting it today. Like, today is the day I'm posting it. And I did. And I was like, all right, like, it wasn't that bad. Like, whatever I'm talking about, it worked.
Yeah, you will live. And it's like, nothing's going to happen to you if you do post a stupid post or what, I mean, I don't know.
Right, as long as it's not offending anybody, go ahead.
Right.
And even so, something will potentially always be offensive or something to somebody. If that wasn't your intention, right? Then that's all that matters. Like,
but I also want to like touch on the types of songs, or the songs that are on the album. I have them pulled up. No one can see, but I have this pulled up on the Spotify. You guys, on Spotify, Apple Pod, or Apple Music, where else they can find the music?
All of them, any place.
All the things,
all the places.
So yes, you listening to music, you can find her album. Okay. So we talk Dirty Sugar. Like, what is that? Like, that immediately caught my mind. I need to, what is that about? So
I know everybody, because Dirty, is entitled. Really, it's just about how, love is difficult and challenging, but it's also rewarding. It's like both of the dirty and the sweet. You feel me? You really can't have love without digging deep, and you might get your hands dirty or whatever, but then it's everything. So that's Dirty Sugar. And I just like as a songwriter, I don't want to, what's the point if somebody's done it? So let me try to find a whole different way to say
I
something.
love that. Do you have a favorite moment when you were creating the album, especially since you wrote?
Favorite moment, low key, Dirty Sugar was such a moment, because when you can remember, that's just one of the few songs where that I can specifically remember the session. I just remember how it all came together. I remember, that was one of the ones, like, I don't always say, that was one of the ones we were up until 4 a.m. recording, because you're in it and you just, so yeah.
Honestly, nice. I have a question for all my singer-songwriters out there. Like, do you ever get sick of your own song? Like the amount of times that you have to listen to the engineer play the beat, you have to re-record the vocals, do the ad-libs, add the this to that. And then if you're performing it on top of the week and a half or however many days you've been in the studio listening to it, now you got to perform it like it's the first time. Like, do you ever be like, I don't want to listen. I don't care about the song no more. Like, I'm over it. I'm on to the next thing. Like,
Yes, absolutely. You definitely get sick of it. And then also your ear, like you have to take an ear break. You know how they have coffee beans? Like you have to cleanse your ears because you be like, I don't even know if this is good anymore. And let me tell you a funny story about when I was about to drop this project and I got the masters back. Like when, right before you release, you get everything mastered. It just like levels all of the volume, make sure all the songs are the same volume, right? I get my masters back and I just listen to them and I just cried. I'm like, I sound horrible.
oh no.
It's like you can't hear, it's crazy. This whole process is crazy. It's like a child. So anyways, they talk, the people talk to me about it and I released it. I didn't like scare myself out of not releasing my project after doing all this work. But yeah, your ears, you can't tell what's good or bad anymore. So yeah, you got to take a break. You got to get away. But honestly, for the most part, I tend to love my songs after I write them. I tend to like
creative baby. Like you literally, that's your thoughts, your emotions, your feel, like all the things. And to wrap it up in one, I mean, I know for Akilah and I, like when we do an episode of the podcast and people after our guest is like, oh my God, that was amazing, this, that, and the third, we feel like vindicated. We feel like, hell yes, we did that. Like it feels good to know that like someone sat down and enjoyed talking to you. Someone sat down and enjoyed.
Or on the flip side, understanding what you're saying, because after we do an episode, I'm like, I cannot listen to this right now. I need a break.
Yeah.
I don't want to hear myself. I don't want to hear the guest. I don't want to hear anything. And then I come back and I'm like, oh yeah, we did say that. That was actually pretty good.
That was a good thing. Yes.
Right. Mm-hmm. Tell us, you're just dropping so many gems just by honestly talking about your experience right now. Like, so what for folks that are budding songwriters, budding singers, like what are some of the top things that they should really know, look out for, advice they should gain, just anything that you can share? Top 3.
The top thing would be invest. Okay, it's 2 in 1. It's invest in yourself, but spend a lot of time working on your crafting your skill. If you're a singer, you got to sing. If you are a songwriter, you got to write songs. You can't write songs and you can't sing when you feel like it. You have to do it every day and as much as possible if you really want to be dope. That's the bottom line. So that's number 1. And don't invest in yourself. And that's an investment. That time is an investment. That's why I put it together. But also like financially, like we all have choices in how we spend our money. So invest in yourself. The second one, maybe I don't know if I have 3, but I think I do. The second one is just like always pay attention to your business. If you're not a business person, find somebody who is, and don't be careful and don't sign contracts without getting anything reviewed, and try to learn your business as much as possible, because we all have to know like a little bit, like a certain amount of business, just so that people don't take advantage of us. And I think that's probably anywhere. So it should be here too. And it's like, you can't, unfortunately, I mean, you can, but you can't afford to just be like, I'm an artist and I just want to be creative. It just kind of doesn't work that way. Or you're gonna end up on behind the music. Talking about why you ended up, bro. Okay. And then what was the third thing? The third piece of advice. Oh yeah, the third piece of advice is like, be cool, be a cool person, because at the end of the day, like the people that go the furthest are not the most talented. If you're talented with a bad attitude, people aren't gonna want to work with you. Or if you're talented but you're late all the time, or if you're talented and you come to you're unprepared for your rehearsal or your session, so people aren't gonna want to mess with you. So yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think all that advice is bomb. I kind of want you to just discuss like being an independent artist. Like, you are funding your dream, you are doing your own thing, you are songwriting, it's like a ton of things that you're doing, but you're also working like a regular job as well. So like talk about the opportunities and the stressors, the excitement of being an independent artist, and you know how excited you are to be out of that independent artist stage, to be doing this full time and not having to balance so much.
Well, being an independent artist is amazing and definitely challenging, because the amazing part is, complete creative control. That's where it ends, because
begins and it ends right there. Is that it?
That's it, because once you get to a, in major situation, then you have an investment, and now you're open to more opportunities, and investment in money does a whole lot. That's just the reality. Like you can take what we see a lot of the times, and why we might be like, hey, why we see people and we be like, I know a girl that can sing 10 times better than that girl, because you have two people and one person has an investment. So somebody can pay to invest in her social media budget, and they can pay to invest in radio spins and billboards or whatever type of digital ads. And all of that is going to increase, of course, like brand awareness, which is going to, whatever it's going to. And so now we can make it, it's an easy, what does the record company do but invest money and put the artists everywhere? That's what their value is. I got a whole lot of money, and I got a whole lot of ways to put you in front of as many people as possible. When I do that, automatically, there's going to be a return on investment. It's just kind of like facts, you know what I'm saying? So yeah, so, but if you're independent, it's creative control. Now for the artist, that's making money for the label more so, actually, though, or the record company. I'm sorry, I'm lying. So for independent artists, I'm such a big liar. It's two benefits, because you have creative control, but also you have all the money is yours, like all of the income is yours. Now, all of the expenses are also yours, but guess what businesses do? We write off expenses. That's what all the other businesses do. That's what artists do as well. So expenses are not really, we have to change our mindset. I'm struggling with that too. Invest in yourself, because once you become a business, everything you invest in is a tax write-off. So yeah, man, you get to keep all the profit. So I mentioned Money Long last time, but I'm like, man, she winning, because now she can be her own record label, which means she keeps all of the profit, and she has creative control. Wow, that's amazing. You got to have the money aspect as well as the creative control aspect. That's
everything.
That's kind of what everyone's been doing now with like remastering their
right
and stuff.
Right.
Like crazy.
Yeah.
They see that's it's an avenue now, more so than it was. And I think a lot of that is because of social media too, right? So now it's like you can really have that own marketing lane that before was just the labels, was just the record company. Yeah.
And also online or digital distribution. So it's like before, to put out, people were selling CDs out of their trunk or tapes. Okay. So,
how do you think that like labels will be able to kind of like sustain, like, okay, so for example, Extreme, like Blockbuster had an opportunity to buy Netflix, they laughed it off. Netflix is now, Blockbuster's out of business, Netflix is like top streaming, right? For labels, do you think that like that could be kind of the new norm for them as well? Like they could age out eventually with the amount of streaming and independent artists owning, people like, major people owning their masters, and people kind of doing this like independent, I'm for myself, making my own money type business model. Like, do you think labels will have a stake in that still? Do you think they're changing how they're looking at artists, or do you think they're just going to age out?
I would hope they will be smart enough to transition, like, meaning I can either create my own online distribution or like invest in some of these online distribution platforms, or find a way to profit from these online distribution platforms so that I can profit from these independent artists. I think there's always gonna be a machine, there's always gonna be that big machine situation. But yeah, it's getting pretty interesting, because it's kind of like now we're almost like flooded with music because there's no barriers to entry. There's no gatekeeper, it's like all this music, but I know the labels did struggle when it went to you mentioned Netflix and Blockbuster, but really the labels, when it went digital, they didn't. Spotify is its own company. Labels don't own these Spotify, these digital distribution companies either. So, or streaming companies, I mean. So they kind of missed the mark on that. So that's why I was kind of saying, well, I would hope that they would peep what's happening and try to get in somewhere where they can, you know what I mean? Like there's a way for them to enter, so, but who knows? Because I think, or they'll fight it.
Yeah.
Because that's what they tried to do with the streaming. They just fought Napster because, so.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely an interesting world to look in right now, and we can only tell or hope our best to predict what's going to happen in the next couple of years, let alone the next year or month. But another major thing that we have to acknowledge is the fact that you were a member of Kanye's Sunday Service Choir. Okay, like that is huge. How has that experience been for you? Take us through the journey of when you were part of it, and just what was it? What was it like?
Questions.
Man, it was such an amazing experience. Very grateful for that experience. It's so crazy when things like this happen. It's like, I don't know how to explain. It's like, it's going to be a moment in time. I was like, this is some history happening right now. Like, what is this? Because you didn't really know what it was when you first got to it. And it was so cool. And we were learning all these new songs every week, and we're rewriting, like contemporary dope music. And I'm singing with it was like, like 60, 65, just of the most amazing, best singers you've ever sung around in your life. So it was like a beautiful experience, and it was challenging also. We would have long rehearsals. We had a lot of rehearsals. My voice would be hoarse every week. I probably mentioned that last time, but it was like a lot of, I was working a full-time job at that time, and I had just taken it like 3 months. I was like, fine, I'll take a full-time job. Side note, y'all. Sometimes you got to be obedient. Okay. So I have been struggling. I have been doing like DoorDash, pay rent and stuff. I was like, man, this, but you still have gigs. You always have gigs, but it's you can't quite live off of this, right? So, I'm praying. I'm looking at that time. I was looking for apartment manager jobs, and I'm just praying, but I'm also working on my mind. So I'm thinking, I'm thinking abundant thoughts, and I'm attracting an abundance of money into my account. And during this process, I got like a full-time job, and I had been looking for jobs so long. It was close to my house. It seemed like it was going to be chill. It seemed like it could help me to get to the job I was really looking for. So I was like, okay, God, I know I didn't ask. I know I didn't want this. It just came to me so easy. I was like, oh, fine. And then like 4 months later, I was in the Sunday Service Choir.
Okay, but let's talk about that, because I feel like the outside looking in.
I know you're going to say the outside looking in will say that I gave up to take that other job or something, right? Is that what you're going to say?
No, yes, like true. But I'm also like the entry into Sunday Service Choir, like
at a time where it's like she said, 50 or 60 people. Now it's bigger, but this was like,
it's smaller. And on top of that, I think everyone, including myself, I will add myself in here with this group of people that was like, what is Kanye doing? He is like, what is he doing?
And we didn't know either. And
I know, but the fact that you took the chance to be like, no, do it. You know what I'm saying? Because people were like saying what is he doing?
Yes, they were saying we're a call, all of that. We would be in there laughing because, we're just we people that grew up in church. At that time, for the most part, because they started the contracted church singers, but they were dope, they were singing singers, but we were like, we just praising Jesus up in here. Like, y'all tripping.
That's faith right there. Like that's amazing.
Right. So yeah. So sometimes, that was my be obedient lesson. Like, okay, So anyways, but yes, and I completely forgot what else.
No, I was gonna say, go back to the point where you were saying you
you.
would have thought that this was you giving up, right? What was it really?
You would thought it was me giving up, but it's hard to explain. It's the picture of, have you seen that another social media picture of the little girl and she has a teddy bear? It was that. It was just like, sometimes I don't know how to, sometimes you just have to say yes to things that you don't understand. It's not necessarily, it's not for you. I don't know. It's faith. Sometimes you just get like, okay, God, where is this going to take me? And yeah, and that's what it was. It was like, as a singer though, you kind of learn to say yes to, you don't say yes to every opportunity, but you kind of say yes. You learn to say yes. I'm a singer. If this is an opportunity to sing somewhere, I'm going to sing. So of course, if it's a choir for Kanye West, you can call me and call it every week. I know I'm not, and I know I'm getting paid well, and I'm enjoying what I do. It was great with they're rewriting songs every week. So even as a songwriter, I grew because I'm learning new, I don't know, I'm a part of this process. As a singer, I super grew because we're having long rehearsals 4 and 5 days a week. I'm singing the best I've ever sung in my life because I'm also singing around other amazing singers. You know what I mean? So it was just a beautiful experience. Kanye he didn't come to all the rehearsals. He came. He was always cool. He was him. Like, you might see the Kanye that whatever. Yeah, he was there, but he wasn't directing it at us. So, but he was talking about his real experiences, and he was really talking about Jesus, and that was what had saved him, and that is what he believed. And so this is what his real message. And he was like, I feel like singers should be able to live a life by singing. They should be able to sustain. Like, why is it that gospel musicians don't make as much money or can't have, a life singing gospel music? So he was like, well, I think you guys should be able to. So things like that, you know what I mean? And I know there's been some other stories about him that I don't know about. Also, I signed an NDA. Also, that wasn't my experience. So, and also, I did sign an NDA also. But everything I'm saying is, nothing crazy. So.
That's a game changer, honestly, when you're saying that, why can't gospel artists, or why aren't they as successful, or you see them as much, or they're not like as much in the news? I think, and that he's saying, I want to provide a space for that to not be such a tight-knit space. Like, I want this to be more global, more open. I want people to be able to see the talent here. I think that that's game changing. And I think that's why people love Kanye so much. Like, despite all the crazy.
He's a real person.
Right. It's like,
he was a Kanye. Yeah. So
it's like, hold on. I get it. And I think it's important to say that too, because then it really grounds us in the purpose, because that's what folks were really trying to cut down. Sometimes the messenger, because you weren't, born and bred from the outside perspective. Right. You're not perfect, or you're not who I envision to be.
I think you should be to share this message. And it's like, all he did was have a heart. He wanted to sing. He wanted people to feel good. All we did, the preaching was 10 minutes, and that only came later. In the very beginning, it was just all music and a prayer. And it was about what felt good and what uplifted him. And, I'm sure there was some culture and connection there for him as well. We were in Calabasas a lot of the time. So I'm being, what I'm saying? So I'm sure he needed that community. I'm telling you guys, in our rehearsals, we will be having church in it was not manufactured.
In my mind, in your rehearsal, Kanye's over there with like his little do, like take it from the top, like being really director vibes. Like, that's how I feel like he was.
He wasn't directing.
No, because you had the Grammy nominated director there.
Jason White, no. So Kanye will come to rehearsals, but he wasn't directing us. He was, he didn't even try. Like, I don't know how to explain it. It was so crazy though. He was feeding up. We're giving him energy. It was so amazing. But it was less of directing. Jason White was choir director. He directed us. He is amazing, phenomenal. He's been been doing this forever and ever and ever. So that's why Kanye called him. And that's the dope thing about Kanye is that I say that like I know him, Mr. West, sir, respect. Mr. West, that's the dope thing about him is that he knows how to get people who are dope at what they do. He was, so he was coming in with the energy and the vibes for the, at the performance and stuff. But like, yeah, during rehearsals, he was there. He wasn't there the whole, if we're having a 6-hour rehearsal, he's not going to be there for those 6 hours. Plus, a lot of the time, it just wouldn't be necessary for him to be there, really. You know what I'm saying? We have a lot to learn. A lot of we would learn like 5 new songs a week.
Wow. How do you think your life and your just experiences really prepared you for that step? I know you were saying you grew so much as an artist overall, but how do you think you were prepared to be in that room to begin with?
I mean, I was prepared. I've had a lot of I've just had a lot of choir experience, group singing experience. So I just knew how to handle myself. I knew what to do and I know how to sing. But yeah, it's choir singing is each thing is background singing versus, each thing is a little different. So I've done like a ton of, choir work.
What are some of those differences? Like, so from a background singer to a choir singer to I guess, what are the other types?
Lead. So it's like, if you're a lead singer, you do what you want, right? But if you're a background singer, it's just more nuanced. Well, Sunday service was every one of it, we each had a mic, we each had a mic. So Sunday service was just as nuanced as a background singing, but typically it just, you're more so about singing out, but when you're on singing backgrounds for somebody, you have your own mic. And so you're just doing specific things. You might, it's just more nuanced. You got to be more whatever. But if it's like, I don't know, if it's like a big choir song, you're out in the open. It's just a little different, but
you're also with a group of people. So it's about the harmonies coming together, making sure you're listening to people next to you.
Exactly. That's the group thing. Yeah. You have to listen to those around you. And then it's also a difference between live choir singing and then like a recording session, So
yeah. I mean, you're in the game.
I mean, I can't imagine live, like, because in the studio, we can stack voices on top of each other, overlay things. There's like a lot of technology that can happen, but like live singing, Sunday service choir, you're like, all right, like if somebody's off key, someone holding a note too long, like you gonna hear it and it's gonna sound crazy and it's gonna throw everybody off. So it's like such a different vibe when it is a live singing. But I think that's what makes the choir so dope and so cool because of how many people, how big the choir is, and how all the harmonies literally sound like almost one voice. And it just
we had to rehearse. We had to,
right.
It was that rehearsal, and we were all high level singers. Even once we got to the big choir, the singers are just at we were all high level, and so you find your place.
I want to talk about something that's fun and exciting while you were doing Sunday service, while you were part of the choir. What was like one experience, instance, thing that you were like, wow, this was dope, can't believe we did it? Was it like you on a TV show? Was it like you on, because I saw you guys like on James Corden, but I don't know if you were part of that like choir at that particular time, but like, was there like one experience, travel moment, time that you can share that you were like, this was once in a lifetime, I'm so happy I was a part of this, like this was so cool?
So I was in the choir during James Corden, but I had it was a long story, but I had like let my passport expire. So I wasn't able, it was like an extended trip. So I was so mad at myself. So anyways, Coachella.
Well, I'm sorry I brought that up then. I'm sorry.
No, it's okay. No, it's okay. You didn't know. No. But Coachella was one amazing thing because of the way it kind of came about. It was kind of like when the choir was new, and it was like he really wanted to bring that element to Coachella, and it was, so I don't know, in the way it happened, like I don't know the way we found out about it. It was just a really cool all the way around experience, but I don't think that's the one I wanted to talk about. What do I really want to say?
Oh, great.
One moment that felt extra special, or not, I don't know. but it's been a lot of them. But it was like we were in Ohio and we were doing something that was Dave Chappelle was basically hosting it, but it was his birthday. So when he came back to the hotel, we all sang happy birthday to him. It was just, I don't know, like, bro, like Dave Chappelle sitting right there and we're like singing happy birthday to him. Like,
and I bet the way you all sung it, I'm sure it's like it would never be.
Girl, we feel so we were in the lobby, we just filled the lobby. Like the sound filled the hotel lobby. It was, like those are the type of cool little things, like, wow. And I'm sure there's some,
Yeah.
How long were you a part of the choir? Was it 2 years or 3 years?
I was in there. So wait, when did it start? So it started in started in January 2019. I was in it until the shutdown, until March of 2020. I was in it. I don't know how to explain. Like technically I was doing it, but I'm not. It's hard to explain. But yeah, I was in it like until this past summer, but I just wasn't able to do.
So is it something that you can like rejoin at any time, or is it kind of like a different process now, or is it like?
Yes, it's the reason why it's difficult is because we learn so much new material constantly. It's hard to jump back in. I probably could reach back out to the contract. I don't know how to, I'm in a season where I'm allowing it. So everything that comes to me is for me. And so, I knew that the reason why they didn't ask me again was because I wasn't available. So I didn't take it personal. And I don't know, it's a season of me learning to trust. It's like, this is the time for me learning that. And so in that, I'm allowing, and I feel 100%. So I know that whatever comes for me next. So I felt like this is my opportunity. That's why I was like, oh, it's time for me to get in my songwriting. Like, that's just why I'm here. And and whenever the way that things come out of the blue, I can't worry about anything because it's just like, you'll just be sitting here and you'll just get a phone call, So I'm not, not like that, but
no, it's true.
But I haven't even tried to reach back out to the contractor to ask or anything. Cause I'm trying to learn to allow.
And I guess when you do that, or if you do that, that would be the sole thing for a while, since you do have to learn so many new materials. So that makes sense. Do you feel like you're going to incorporate any gospel into your own, songwriting or songs that you have coming out now that you've been a part of Sunday service?
I've written before, just never released, written and recorded, and maybe not even, I guess, gospel, contemporary Christian, or, but it's funny. I definitely have like a song that I wrote recently that was like, I would say it's gospel, but it's just to like more of a R&B-ish, hip-hop-ish type track. I just wrote a song. It just ended up being about that, And I kind of think it's more so, I'm a PK. I think I resisted the gospel thing because I'm just like, God is in everything I do, but I do understand the need to say things. You know what I mean? Like, yes, God is in everything I do, but sometimes you got to say what you say. You got to send your message, make it clear. So, I definitely have some songs that I plan to release that will be more like specifically gospel.
I think that's dope, because I feel like, honestly, going back to the mission of Sunday service, or one of them, I really feel like it's true. He kind of did put gospel music or contemporary Christian music in the hands and the voices and the ears of folks who may not typically say, okay, it's Sunday, that means I'm gonna listen to Donnie, that means I'm gonna listen to Never Should Have Made It. There's folks that maybe not even would go towards that, and now it's kind of like more, it made it more natural, but at the same time, or mainstream, but at the same time, do people even truly see this?
Are they seeing,
gospel, right. as gospel, or just another opportunity to listen to a Kanye type performance?
But and it was crazy because, like, okay, we're at this church in Atlanta, Eddie Long's church, and you see these little random, like a little white girl, like people that you don't go to this church, and it's okay. We're glad you're here. Actually, we're very happy you're here. But it will be dope because you will see that at different places. You go to different communities, and because Kanye is there, they came for him. And I think it doesn't matter. The thing is what is the message? You know, if he's singing songs about love and light, and every song is in about love and light, some of his songs just about life and God in that, and that's real too. But if you're putting a message, a better message out, then it doesn't matter. You know, he's sending a better message.
Yeah, that's true.
That's true. And people listen to music, and I think that that's dope that Kanye's been able to kind of transition the space a little bit, change it, which I think he's been doing since he's like been on the scene, to be honest. Like
since Jesus walked.
I was gonna say, everybody's acting surprised.
Yeah.
He's always ready to switch the script and do something different. So like not with the status quo and wants to be different, and is like embraces that, excited about it. And I think like we could all learn a lot from Kanye. Like again, we're talking like Kanye, like let's just be real, you know, like we're not talking about everything we're seeing in social. We're just talking about Kanye.
The authenticity and the to being true to like who you are, and he is not like the level of, I don't know what to say if it's persistent. It's the confidence, persistence combination. The confidence, persistence, we can all learn from that because he's been knowing what he was going to do, who he was.
Right. I mean, I want you to talk about the spirituality of your journey, because I feel like just speaking with you right now, like your energy and like what you're saying is like feels like very like intentional, and you're trying to like make sure you're, you know, picking and choosing your words correctly. And I feel like when you're talking about the music, that there's energy that comes over you immediately when you start talking about it. So I would love for you to just tell us a little bit about like the spirituality moment for yourself, but then also like with the group, the choir, the energy. Because I mean, the way you're describing it, I can only imagine, not even in the room, what it would feel like to be in a room of beautiful singers with beautiful voices, singing this amazing song, giving it up to God, praising, doing the worship. Like, oh my gosh, let's, you know, I kind of want to dive into that a little bit.
Yeah, man. Like I can remember specifically, well, the first place he like built like a circular room, and then it was like super high ceiling. So the way the sound surrounded us, and at that time it was less instrumentation. I think it was more so just like drums and maybe like horns, but no amplification. So that before we had mics, at first we didn't have mics, at the end we had mics, right? So in the beginning it's just us singing out. And I think it will become a combination. We would be praising. We're filled with joy. We're already filled with joy. And now we're filled with joy, really, because as singers, we're living our dream in this exact moment. In this very moment, we are living our dream while praising God. And so I think that we will be filled with joy, like truly filled with joy. And yeah, it definitely, many times where I know the Holy Spirit was there. You know what I mean?
Have you grown spiritually throughout your process? Like, have you?
Yes, because you kind of have to like let some things go or something. Like, I don't know. You kind of have to shed in order even just to be free enough to do it. So even though I still, you know, I have been singing. I was singing in my church. I mean, where like, you know, a lot of singers and musicians do, but yeah. Yeah, and then I grew in worship, and because I grew in worship, yeah, it just I kind of needed to learn to let go more so that I can, you know, I personally had to learn to let go so that I could connect, and this space helped me with that for real.
It's crazy. It's kind of like you can grow and you can change as a person through so many like unknown avenues. It doesn't have to be like this was your therapy in a sense. It sounds like this was your therapy.
And it's okay. Therapy. Yeah.
Anyone else on your wish list that you want to work with or currently working with that we should know about, or just what you got going?
So, on my wish list that I would love to work with, it's funny, I'm gonna tell you, I would love to work with Lucky Day. And he's not the only one. A lot of artists though. I would love to work with, I would love to co-write with or work with her. That would be dope. You know, I singing behind her is one thing, but yeah. And then I would love to work with everybody. No, honestly, I would love to work with everybody though. I'm trying to think, but I think when I'm on the spot, I would love to work with.
I mean, those are
I was
two
like,
folks. Like,
but let's not put down the Beyonce's real goals. You know what I mean? Like, actually, that's what I'm saying. I can name. I want to work with Ari Lennox and Jasmine Sullivan, and I would love to work with Billie Eilish. And then there's an artist named Duckworth that I would love to work with, and I would love to work. I mean, you know what I'm saying? Because I want so. Hey everyone.
Call her.
Put your name on the list. Like, all right, you need a songwriter. We got you.
We got you. And I love it because even in the people that you named, I'm like, you can totally get more of a sense of your style. Like, obviously, we already hear your songs on Bloom and some of the projects you've been in, but knowing who you want to be immediately associated with, it helps give everyone else a sense of your flavor too. So that's dope. That's awesome. So what's next for you overall?
So what's next? Well, I'm working on a lot of new music. You know, I'm definitely still promoting Bloom and I'm going to continue to promote that. But I'm ready to just drop. I'm just really deeply working on a lot of new music right now and just collaborating as much as possible. And so like one of the artists, I'm not really specifically working with any artist, but I will mention young JD McCrary that I'm currently writing songs with, who's a 14-year-old, you know, dope, amazing singer. And I'm really excited to see him grow. It's going to be nuts. Y'all, you don't even know how good this kid can sing. Wow. So, and he just already has, he's already had a career acting. So he's like, he already has a good footing in the industry and he, experience. So I'm excited about that. But other than that, I'm excited to collaborate with some of these other people. And I don't know. I know that I'm just calling it into because yeah.
And for folks who don't know, I know JD McCrary, he was the Lion King. Okay. So it's true. He did have a whole career beforehand and to be partnered with him, Anjolee, I feel like you're a true songwriter, because some of the best songwriters are kind of like, oh wait, you worked with them and them and them. Like you can really, right. You have credit
for me. Okay.
Yes.
Yes.
That's what it is. So who else is great to work with, Eb? Tell the people who else.
Okay. Well, if y'all already don't know, we gonna let you know that the Black Creators Club is the best place to collab, to watch, to explore, to discover amazing Black creatives. Okay, so please continue to support us, support our mission, subscribe, comment, rate us on Apple Podcasts. That literally goes a long way. We super appreciate it. Please, you guys, buy the merch. You guys can purchase the merch on the website. Our sweater and Akilah shirt says, "You're welcome, sincerely a Black creator." It's our love letter to all our Black creators out there, you guys. They could not do it without us, period. Okay, so just know that. So that's why we're telling them you're welcome, because everything you see wouldn't be possible without us. So, we just want to thank you guys. Continue to subscribe, comment. If you think you would be a guest or a great guest, please email us at theblackcreatorsclub@gmail.com. Follow us on Instagram at The Black Creators Club. And I'm gonna toss it back to Akilah.
Yes, all of the plugs, love it. But we're not done with you yet, all right? So we loved hearing more about your story, more about your journey, more about the bomb things that you're doing and will continue to do. But we also want to hear your voice. We want to hear that fabulous voice. So we're gonna be playing a game of word association. So over here we love Elle Magazine Song Association, which is a YouTube series hit that they play with musical guests. And so we're doing the same with you. So this game is going to require some singing. So I saw you sipping that water.
Yes, girl. I'm like, oh,
the vocals warmed up. So for folks who may not have heard about this game before, what we're going to do is name a word. And Anjolee is going to come up with a song that has that word in it some way. So the first word, we're going to, at the crux of R&B. We're at the crux of R&B is love. So that first word is love.
Okay. Love. There's so many things I want to tell you, but I'm afraid I don't know how. 'Cause there's a possibility you'll look at me differently, love. Ever since the first moment I spoke your name, from then on I knew that by you being in my life, things were destined to change. 'Cause love. How long?
No, you're
Listen, that is amazing.
We can listen to you all day.
Right. We got 5 more to go.
Okay. Right. Don't give it all away.
Right.
Having a moment. Okay. Your next word is sugar.
Are you trying to trick me? Okay. Let's go to the easy challenge, mountain mover. I see fire, dirty sugar, sweet and sour, past is future, weak with power, dirty sugar.
Yes, I love just the juxtapositions, like weak, power, dirty, sugar.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying?
Like, yes. Come on, lyricist. The next word is friends.
I don't want to go all music soul child today.
I know, that's what I thought about too.
Right. I'm gonna have to. Oh. You just call out my name, and wherever I am, I'll come running to see you again. Winter, spring, summer, or fall, all you gotta do is call, and I'll be there, yeah. You've got a friend. I got there.
Nice. What song is that?
Oh, it's called You've Got a Friend. It's a it's a Carol. It's I went back in the little
yeah. I love the sound of that. Nice. Putting me on.
Right. we love it when y'all put us on because we be
right.
Because I was gonna automatically just friends comes in my head. So okay.
Your next word is happy.
I look, it's so sad. I thought of 2 already, but I'm like, no. All right. I don't want to sing that one.
Don't be shy. What's the song?
First one that came in my head is happy. Clap along if you feel like a room without a roof. 'Cause I'm clap along if you feel like happiness is the truth. 'Cause I'm clap along if you know what happiness means to you. Hey, clap along if you know what happiness. What?
That's what you came to do.
Thank you, girl. What?
Hey, look at it,
You better sing.
Finish that lyric.
I'm filled with the spirit. Speaking of which, the next word is Lord.
Oh, Lord. Oh, Lord. But that's only the line I know is that it's a Kim Burrell song. Oh, Lord. But let me.
Okay.
Like no Sunday service song. What song they
I know, girl, and there's so many of them. Okay, hold on.
Lord, make it up. 24 hours. That's what I want to hear.
Wait, 24. You can't tell me the titles because I don't remember the titles.
Oh, okay.
No, wait. Okay, you can't tell me. Give me 5 more seconds.
You got it.
We'll have her circle back around to that one, Akila. She'll sing that one.
That is so sad.
It's what happens when you're in it, right? It's like...
That is.
Yeah, we had time to research and look at
yes.
That's what I'm doing.
Wait, Keeks, 24 hours has the word Lord in it?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
The song title is 24 hours, but the the chorus is like dear Lord, make it all right. Only you can But that was Donda. So I'm trying to think of what's like 2019, 2020. But you could always go back to
I know. It's a book.
Right.
I was even supposed to sing it. I couldn't do it because I have this event, but I was supposed to sing in another church. Like, why can't I? Y'all, this game is it's hard.
Walks. Doesn't Jesus Walk has that song?
Lord, it's so many songs that have Lord.
Right. Hard to pick one.
Lord, send me the way because the devil's trying to break me down.
Right.
Wait, there we go.
Did I fail y'all? So do I have to? Okay, hold on.
No, you didn't fail. I mean, you sang the song. You didn't fail. We were just helping you break.
It's not really a test. Oh, good. Look at this pressure that we put on us ourselves.
Right. Okay, your last word. This one you got, girl. This one you acing it. This one, last word is bloom.
Flowers in a field of dreams, reaching up toward the sun as we bloom. Nothing is more beautiful than our colors, except the stars, except the moon, except the oceans and the rivers that flow to waterfalls, the mountains and the breeze and the bird song. We are not alone, we are not alone, we are not alone. Reaching up toward the sun as we bloom, reaching up toward the sun as we bloom, reaching as we.
This is you're so right with saying it's Sunday afternoon like vibes, like because that is exactly what Bloom is. Y'all make sure to check that out. You successfully completed word association with the Black Creators Club.
Y'all, I thank you guys. I really appreciate you guys. Dope energy. I like y'all are dope, and I hope you keep what you're doing, and I hope that you get in touch with the people I referred you to. Okay. And if we don't help
okay. Anjolee, let our listeners know where they can find you, where they can learn more and listen to Bloom and just anything else that you got coming our way.
Yes. So all of my social media is Anjolee the Free. And that's my handle, ANJOLEE, the Free. Not freak. Some people hear the freak and it's like, I think it's always men. And
right.
And also you can check me out online, Anjolee.online, just my name.online. And then my music, you can search for Anjolee Bloom. If you just put in Bloom, you're gonna get a whole lot of other things. But if you put in Anjolee Bloom, I'm right there.
Love that. And I think I was calling you Anjolee. It's definitely
Anjolee. No, see, Anjolee, I was saying my mom says Anjolee, right? But I say, I don't know. And I go back and forth because people call me Angie. I don't know. It's like Angie, what? I don't know. So it's okay. But I like how you said it. And you said it so natural and beautiful. So don't let me change how like,
listen, no, I mean, we all know your name is your name, your name is your power, so get it right.
Right.
I feel it. So you can find me chatting media and life motivation with a dash of style at Aquila Friends. Ebony, where can they find you?
Yes, you guys can find me on Instagram at Ebony Chapman 12, talking everything Black on business, and of course the Black Creators Club.
Yes, and so definitely keep up with the Black Creators Club at the Black Creators Club on all platforms. Thank you so much for joining us, and remember, always abide by your ABCs.
Always be creating. Bye, guys.
Ooh, I love that.
You love it?